Hey, Fitheads. Today we talk with Dave Sherwin. He's a certified fitness nutrition coach, entrepreneur. He's a mindfulness practitioner, but really, he has the undiet, which was fascinating. Its 7 pillars are exactly what both Max and I, and probably you, should be doing. And yet, are we?
And when he said I have seven sort of tenets or seven pillars, I'm like, okay, here we go. And then every single one, I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
No, yeah, I'm
Yep, that
definitely
makes
agreeing
sense
with you.
too. I do that. Yep, I'd like to do that.
So it was cool and cool to hear it all together. And if you are just getting into your fitness transformation or really trying to get on the nutrition train, this is the podcast for you.
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hi, Dave. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm just going to open with the headline. There are 200,000 people that have lost weight because of you. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, in 2009, I got started in the health space, and it was with a weight loss product and a diet. And it went kind of crazy. For a little while, we were the top e-commerce purchased diet and supplement in the country. And it was really an education. At that time, I didn't have a health certification. I was just kind of a fitness nut. I was really interested in health, but I honestly had no expertise in the broad range of issues involved in weight loss, everything from upbringing and emotional eating and some of the psychological issues with it, along with, you're touching on fitness and you're touching on nutrition, you're touching on a person's whole background and current situation. And I had no idea what I was getting into. And so it was a huge learning curve. We had 5 full-time support reps at that time. And every question in the book, I had my gallbladder removed. How do I adjust? My significant other doesn't support me. What do I do? This is the 50th diet I've tried. Will it work? Right. So,
Wow.
and so it gave me empathy. It helped me understand what this is really like for people, the real world problems people go through. But it forced our feet to the fire of how do we make this effective for people? Given whatever background they have, you have to have this faith that people can improve their health. And you have to move forward in a way that you can be encouraging and evidence-based, and we're talking about emotional and factual and scientific, and all of those things go into helping someone improve their health. So real serious learning curve there.
So how did you come up? I mean, did you just go super general, or it's interesting because it is sort of, I think people forget that a lot, that there's a lot of different circumstances. You see these guys on Instagram or whatever, and they're like, yeah, it's great. All you got to do is work out 9 hours a day. And you're like, yeah, okay, wait a minute. Hold on. And then you start counting. So did you go general, or did you sort of have like principles, or how did you do that? How did you approach that?
I'll tell you, the first thing I had to take self-responsibility for was lowering our sales pitch. As a business person, you want to make money, you want to make promises, you want to tell people how great your stuff is. And I would say that the first massive epiphany for me was we had to take off our marketing hats and put on our loving, compassionate, we want to help you hats. So that was a big one. Just getting more real. Like, not everyone will succeed with our program. And that's hard to say when you're proud of what you're doing and you've got a great product. You never want to suggest it won't work, right? But we're not selling widgets, right? If you're selling a widget, you can say, hey, buy this. Here, I got a speaker on my desk. Okay, buy this speaker. It has this much volume. It has this much battery life. It does this, right? I get to say all that if I'm selling a speaker. But when you're selling a health result to people you don't know, you literally have no idea what they're going to do with it. And so you have to adjust your message. You have to give them hope without promises. you have to make sure they understand the back and forth between you as a seller and them and their own responsibilities. And then from there, one of the reasons I became a podcaster and got my fitness nutrition certification and everything was so that we could help them through what we could help them through, right? So that I wasn't just a guy selling a bunch of bottles of stuff to people, but a guy who's backing up the bottles of stuff to people and making sure they had everything that they needed. And if they were going to fail, I always felt like, hey, if you're going to fail, it won't be my fault. So that's the approach we've taken.
Well, it's not my fault.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everything's someone's fault, right? And I guess that's what I was saying about my first point. At first, it was our fault because we were overselling, and we didn't know that. We weren't like lying to people. We had full confidence in what our product and our product could do, and if they followed the directions, it really should have delivered results. And for many, many people, it did and still does. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, again, you're dealing with emotions and history and eating disorders, and there's all kinds of stuff that goes into this, some of which you cannot deliver remotely, and some people just are going to need local. It gets down to, some people need a therapist to get over some of their eating related issues and obesity issues.
Yeah. So it seems that you feel you've accounted for all of the other outside things that could be not your fault and not their fault either. Whatever your genetics or your body response to something that would be different than the general population.
Yeah, but to be honest, for the most part, we shifted from being a weight loss company to being an overall fitness company. And so we still have a weight loss product, and we still have our weight loss diet, and we still help people with that. But we really did move out of it. It's a tough business to be in. There's a high failure rate. And I've also changed, that was a long time. I'm 55 years old now, and things have started to change for me physically too. I'm more interested, for example, in longevity than in strength, right? Like that was not the way it was 15 years ago.
Although I think they go hand in hand. Sarcopenia.
That's a great point. And thank you for saying that, because I still do strength training. Don't get me wrong.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. Strength is critical. I'm just saying my priorities though.
Sure.
And so in other words, I want the strength for longevity, right? If you're a 25-year-old guy, you want the strength so you look good.
Indeed. Those don't go hand in hand, as I've learned. Right? Looking good means you're probably going to die at 40.
Isn't that so true, right? Like we look at these fitness magazines and we think these people are healthy. They're not healthy. They've got compromised immune systems. They've got hormonal imbalances. They got all kinds of problems.
Organs are all messed up.
Yes,
and they're photoshopped. So what the heck?
Yeah, on top of everything else, right? Yeah.
But they're hot.
Yeah, and completely dehydrated.
Yeah.
For that 30 seconds,
dehydrated the day of that shot. Yeah,
they're so thirsty.
They're dying to eat a piece of bread, right? Because they've been carb deficient for a week for the photo.
But that 30 seconds, they look great.
Yeah, tell us about that shift. What have you started focusing on now for longevity versus being hot?
We've moved towards more traditional products in support of general health. We have a multivitamin we're very proud of. We have a mineral supplement that's the top seller on Amazon. We have a digestive aid. Digestion is a huge problem that a lot of people have. And if you go to Amazon right now and search fructose malabsorption, for example, that's a big problem people have. Our product is usually number one in that category. It's called Eat Anything RX. And so digesting the food, this is another issue we could talk for hours about, but the fact is everyone talks about, calories and phytonutrients and zoochemicals and all the, vitamins and minerals in food, but none of that really matters if you can't absorb it, right? Like what it says on the nutritional label. Okay. That's what the manufacturer thinks is in that product, but if you eat it and your body can't process it and you don't get everything out of it, then
Right.
it's not doing you near as much good as it could. So digestive issues has become an important part of what we're doing as well. And then we back that up with, we've changed our diet to be, we've created a diet called the Undiet that I'm really excited about. And we teach that to everybody. And so whether they buy our weight loss product or our multivitamin or our mineral, we teach them the same diet now. And it can be scaled, right? So you can follow it really strictly and you'll lose weight. But if you're at your ideal body weight and you just want a great way of eating, you can live by it on a day-to-day basis and have phenomenal health without counting calories or weighing any food or anything like that. So this is a long answer to your short question of how have we morphed, right, from the weight loss to, but that's been a huge part of it, is because the other thing we learned in the weight loss space is one of the reasons diets sometimes don't stick is because someone's temporarily eating a certain way, so they lose the weight, but they don't transition to something better than what they had before. And if you think about it, many people don't really have to go on a diet. They actually have to figure out what they're going to do after the diet. And if they just figured that out now and did it, they might not need the diet.
You diet, yeah, you'd lose weight slower, more healthy, and then it'd be sustainable. Huh.
That's absolutely right. And so that's been a huge part of what we've shifted to. Is it used to be we're selling a weight loss product and a diet. And then we didn't have a great answer for what to do next to maintain your ideal body weight. And that really bothered me. That was like a 5-year quest probably for me, because I didn't know, everyone says eat a healthy diet, right? This product should be taken in conjunction with an exercise program and a healthy diet. Great. What does that mean? What does it mean? When you walk in your kitchen, what exactly do you get to eat? What do you buy at the grocery store? Most Americans don't know.
The most definitive thing I can give is not McDonald's, but that's still leaves a lot open.
Except for Sundays, obviously.
Sundays, or when there are Shamrock Shakes, obviously. Ugh.
Or on occasion, because if you tell people they can never have McDonald's, they don't like that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I'm not disagreeing with you. It's not an argument. Most people eat too much fast
argue.
food.
We have lots of time.
I'm just saying that any long-term plan has to have some flexibility. People are not going to do it. This is why no one stays on keto. Keto is great, but no one does it 2 years later. Nobody is doing it 2 years later. Right?
Yeah, of course.
The thing about diets is I think people are always very surprised by how quickly if they go on some crazy diet and then they go off it. I think people are shocked, and by people I mean me, are shocked by how quickly it can just float right back up to where they were. Yeah. You track your stuff, you watch it Monday through Friday, you're great. And then I have a crazy weekend. In theory, someone has a crazy weekend. I'm like right back to where I used to be.
Yeah. And that's a physiological thing. I'm for a lot of people, they don't realize, right, that if you diet, so you're in a caloric deficit for a short period of time, it doesn't take much to blast through a caloric deficit. Let's say in the course of a week, right? So let's say that your metabolism, you can do it in one milkshake.
Oh,
that's true.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say that your metabolism thrives at 2,500 calories a day, just throwing a dart, right? And so you go on a diet and you decide a very slow burn diet. You're going to eat 2,400 calories a day. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, if you do that, you'll lose weight. It's just a physiological fact. But on Saturday, you go out with your kids to McDonald's and you get a shake, which has 900 calories. So for 6 days, you were in 100 calorie a day deficit, and boom, it's gone in one shake.
Right.
It's a good shake, though.
So yo-yoing, that's why it's so easy, and so common that when you're telling people, like, you're talking about your diet here, is it that you're bringing less down because you're talking about a deficit, or is it more the types of foods you're eating, or is it a combination of that?
It's a great question. What we're teaching people is a system. And so there's 7 points of the system. Let me just read them to you, okay? It's really quite simple.
Sure.
So number one, and let me start with the strict version. I told you how if you do this strictly, you'll lose weight. So number one is don't drink any calories, only drink water.
But beer.
Okay, for weight loss, then just go 0 calorie and not much. Maybe just on Friday night.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But try not to drink any calories if you're in a weight
Yeah,
loss.
that's like the first thing. I totally agree that you opened with that. My goodness, if you're drinking juice, they're just leaving a lot of low-hanging fruit there. Pun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's high in calories and it gives you no benefit. People believe that these fruit juices are healthy and they're really not.
Spikes your blood sugar and makes you feel like garbage. Probably hungrier. I swear I get hungrier when I drink calories.
I think drinking and drinking calories is one of the worst things that we do again to work against our own health. So that's number one. Plus we're dehydrated, you see. So it's important to drink a lot of water. Way to go. I got my bottle. I'm in. I did this one time on a show and it was like the person was an essential oils expert. And I think they just about died when I held up a plastic bottle. Oh no.
Clutching my pearls. I mean, I do worry about endocrine disruptors and whatever. I don't know if you've ever. No, now we're jumping all over the place like we predicted.
Well, we are talking about drinking. So while we're on it, I actually prefer the metal ones. I have a metal one that I use most of the time. The reason I like this one actually has electrolytes, BCAAs, and a little bit of salt because I do intermittent fasting, right? Mm-hmm. And I can do that in this bottle and throw it in the dishwasher, and it takes all the, you know how your metal bottles, if you put any powders in them, you smell it for 2 weeks. Yeah. I don't know why.
Pre-workout left out in the sun. Smells like fish. Don't try it.
So gross.
Right?
Yeah, it's weird.
So I'm not recommending a plastic bottle, but I just, for this purpose, it works. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 2 is eat all your food slowly and mindfully. We eat too quickly. And when we eat too quickly, the hormones in our stomach that trigger that we're full, they're a little slow, about 20 minutes behind. So when we eat quickly, we eat too many calories and our stomach doesn't get to absorb the food properly. We don't chew the enzymes in our mouth into the food like we should, especially important for carbs and starches. Gets down to our stomach. We're rushing the the food into our stomach. And our stomach is not a hole in the bottom of our, at the bottom of our throat. It's a series of folds that works the food through, and it takes time. And so we need to eat more slowly. And that right there's been studies that people who eat slowly eat 20% less than people who don't. And that 20% is often the reason why one person is overweight and others not, given the same diet.
Wow. Yeah, I've been lately, since the pandemic, watching CNN while eating. That is not a good combination. I do not recommend. Would you like a layer of anxiety on top of your dinner? Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, the Communist News Network. Let's not even go there.
Oh, dear. Now we're a political podcast.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, I avoid all news. We don't want to get political, but I'm telling you that our news outlets have all gotten political. And it's a huge bummer because in this world where here we are, talking about health, right? The fact is that even news outlets have become clickbaitish. They can no longer just deliver facts. They have to get clicks. And so a lot of people still get their health information from the news. And luckily, people listening to us are getting great information.
The truth, and definitely not a thumbnail of me flexing with no shirt to try and get them to click.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? And as much as I pick on CNN, I don't listen to any news anymore. I really don't. If I want to know something, I just want to go to the source. I don't need some millennial reporter to give me their biased take on what they just discovered. I could just go wherever they went and read what they read, right?
Yeah.
So that's
bibliography.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's also a good tenet for researching nutrition and health, right? Don't scroll through Instagram. Go look at the studies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We are storytelling creatures, and we love stories, and we hear a story and we develop a belief around it, and we believe it, and we won't let it go. I mean, we've seen this on both sides of the political aisle regarding COVID, right? There are people who are so freaked out about COVID, they're wearing 2 masks in their car by themselves, driving down the street, right? And you got other people that don't believe COVID even exists, right? And all of us need to be more willing to put on our science hats, right? And slow down a little bit. I mean, my friends who are extremists on either side of this, and I deal with both. I feel like I'm in the middle of a whole lot of left and right wing insanity, to be honest, right now, right?
Yeah.
And the people, the anti-vaxxers, and then the people that want their entire economy shut down until there is no fear of catching anything ever again somehow, right? Like, I don't know. To what you just said, there are people who feel like them and the Google are smarter than people who've got a PhD in virology and immunology, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, science hat, take off the storytelling hat, know your sources, right?
Yeah.
Listen to the scientists.
I'm a science fan. And it is tough to be what you're saying, this central, because like we were talking about, the news outlets are sensationalizing things, trying to get clicks, and everything's polarizing. It's so rare to find someone that's like, I'm in the middle. You just have to pick a side, Yeah,
and what really gets difficult about it is I'm often the person who isn't willing to comment, right? Because I don't know, right? I don't know.
That's such a unique take. Oh, I don't know. I won't say anything.
I'm not ready to talk about this. Yeah, and people don't want that. They want you to form an opinion based on very little evidence right now and talk about it authoritatively. That's what they want.
Yeah, they do. It's bizarre.
Right? And when you point that out to them, no one likes to live in doubt. People don't like to live without facts, and so they make them up, from what I can tell.
For sure.
Or, well, they don't necessarily make them up, but they latch on to whichever one fits their preconceived worldview.
Yeah. Well, have you seen that in diets too, right? I feel like that even happened to me, where I was like, I'm not going to lift weights. You can't lose weight doing that. I need to just keep doing cardio, even though it wasn't working. That was my preconceived thing.
Absolutely. We see it in everything. It's this, for example, many of these diets I named keto, there are keto evangelists. They believe in keto the same way Catholics believe in the Pope. It's the same mental constructs, right? And it's the same with paleo in CrossFit, right? I love CrossFit. I did CrossFit for a long time. I still go to the CrossFit gym occasionally. I'm a fan of CrossFit, and I like to just show up in an hour, be given a really great multifunctional mobility / strength workout. But there are people in CrossFit who believe paleo is the true religious nutritional method.
Infallible.
Right?
Yeah.
So we do see this in health. And for those of you listening, it's actually a big breath of fresh air to just let a lot of your preconceived ideas go. It's kind of nice to live without deciding that you have to know everything, or that you're an expert on things, or that you heard some story that sounds great and you just accept and believe it and you just want to go after it. So taking that step back and being more self-critical, self-aware, knowing what we don't know, seems to be a rare trait in this social media world.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But also it's freeing to be like, oh, right, I don't need to stick to that. Like you were saying, it happened to me specifically with intermittent fasting, because you mentioned you do that. I was so stuck on breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And turns out you don't have to believe that.
That's such a great example right there. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We believed that, right? That was a belief. And I was the same as you. And you know what else? I had the hardest time picturing this in my mind. I was like, if I get up in the morning and have a really hard workout and then I don't eat, I don't see how that workout's going to benefit me. I need the protein. Got to get the protein in right away to rebuild from that workout. And I really, really also, along the lines of what you said, I believed I had to get the protein in within 20 to 40 minutes to get the muscle gains from that workout. I had to have multiple experts on my podcast and talk to medical people. Kevin Rail, who is on the Amazon special fasting. It's called Amazon special called fasting. He's one of the prime experts on that. And he was the one who really helped me to get over that kind of thinking. He just talked to me about the physiology of it, what's really happening. And now I just love intermittent fasting.
Right. And so because I intermittent fast, but I still hit my protein window. And you're saying that you don't even do that. You're fasting beginning in a workout and even after.
Absolutely. Yeah. As long as you get the protein in the 24 hours, you're fine. You don't need it right away. It was another belief. It was another belief-based, non-evidence backed.
Science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting is one of your, spoilers. What's your next pill?
Intermittent fasting. Yes. At this rate, how long do you guys have? Is this a 3-hour podcast?
We like tangenting a lot, which is a word that we invented to describe what we do.
I love it, but I'm a terrible fit because I could take tangenting to a whole new level. We could be here forever. I'm often the guy that I'm on podcasts and the host is looking at their watch like, hey, maybe we should do part 2.
Speaking of, nice watch. Are you into fitness trackers? No, sorry.
You are into tangenting. Intermittent fasting. And now you guys, it sounds like we don't have to spend a lot of time on this because you probably have covered this on your podcast and you guys do this. Is that right?
Probably too much. I'm a little bit of an evangelist. Uh-oh.
I am too. Yeah. But we have the evidence to back that up.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Science.
So science backs up every single study that's coming out. They're being done on men. They're being done on women. They're being done on people who are obese. They're being done on athletes. They're being done on old. They're being done on young. And these studies are coming out one after another, and there are no negatives. There's just no study coming out going, oh, this is terrible, don't do it. That study has not come out.
Cool.
Now, one thing I will say is, your fast doesn't have to be, you don't have to do the alley, which is
the
a 23-hour fast. I think, 8-hour eating window is probably okay. Or is that not what you've found?
What I have found is I agree with you. And for women in childbearing years, it may be that 10 hours is the minimum they want to go. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, about 90% of the studies that come out on intermittent fasting are done on men. And the fact is, most studies are done on men. A lot of people don't realize this, but for whatever reason, men are more likely to participate in studies and more likely to be recruited into health studies. I don't know why.
Weird.
Yeah, all I know is I'm on periodicals where I get summaries of the best studies that are done on a monthly basis, and when you dig into the details on them, 90% the test subjects were men, and that's unfortunate. When women jump into things based on evidence and not understanding that the test wasn't done on a woman like them, mm-hmm. Right? So be aware of that. Weird. Yeah, and very few fasting studies have been done on women, but those that have are pointing to hormonal disruption, in less than 10-hour windows. See, women are on a 28 to 31 day hormonal cycle. Men are on a 24-hour cycle. Men's hormonal cycles every 24 hours, never stops, right? Women are on a 28 to 31 day hormonal cycle. And the way they consume food on that cycle differs. And so the women who are really getting into intermittent fasting are figuring this thing out. And I believe there's some really great apps for this that will help to change out the ratios between carbs, fat, and protein during the cycle to really optimize the intermittent fasting.
Oh, interesting. I do carb cycling based on my workouts, not on my hormonal cycle, but I should look into that.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, this is terrible. And I had a lady on my podcast who talked specifically about this, and it was fantastic. I'll try to remember before we stop talking. Otherwise, I'll send you an email. Sure. And you might want to have her on your show sometime. Because she's specializing in intermittent fasting for women.
Max, you can just be quiet the entire episode.
The perfect episode.
Easy. The next one is healthy macros. The macros are carbs, protein, and fat, right? And there's all kinds of people are all over the map with these things, right? In the 90s, we thought fat was bad. So we took fat out of all of our foods, right? In the 2000s, we thought carbs were bad. So keto became super popular and we cut down on all our carbs. But the fact is that healthy carbs and healthy fat and healthy protein is what our bodies evolved to consume as energy. Back to energy and to get our nutrients from, et cetera, right? And so back to, this issue of intermittent fasting and the hormonal balance, right? A lot of people who've cut carbs don't realize how critical carbs are to hormones. So carbs are not just energy, and neither are fats. Fats are important for all of the soft tissue in our body. Protein, of course, doesn't give us much energy, but creates the building blocks of our body. And so we teach eating according to the hand rules. So if you look at your hand, right, if you're a big person, your hand is bigger in proportion to the rest of your body. And the palm is about the size of the portion of protein that you want. Okay. So with every meal, if you could get that much protein, you'd be doing great. Your thumb, which is about 2 ounces on the average size person for fat, right? Maybe a tablespoon or 2, depending on the size of your thumb. Olive oil, an avocado, some nuts, right, contain a lot of fat. And then if you close your fist, that's the size of of carbs. Now, that was one of the biggest shifts for me. For me, if I was having a traditional American, let's say Sunday meal, I don't know if we still talk about Sunday meals in this country anymore, but for me growing up, that was roast beef, potatoes, and vegetables, right? But I say potatoes plural, right? But once I learned the hand rules, like, no, it's potato. It's one.
Sure.
Right. And then if you open your hand and imagine just putting taking a handful of vegetables, that's the amount of vegetables. So it's kind of, if you picture this on a plate, right? A portion of protein the size of your palm, and then a carb the size of your fist, a little bit of oil. That could be a healthy dressing on the salad, right? Or some mixed vegetables. That's a great plate of food. And ideally, we want to get that in 3 meals a day. So for me, intermittent fasting is back to what you said. It's an 8-hour window. I often go less. I have found that 6 actually works really well for me, but I don't push it. I kind of go when I'm hungry. Today, I didn't even feel like eating till noon. It just depends.
Yeah.
So you stop pretty early before bed then?
I really try hard to not eat a thing after 6 o'clock. I'm just at my best if I can cut off at 6. Man, I feel so good. I sleep better.
Yeah, of course.
And I've just noticed this. You're not liking this one. You're not liking that.
Oh, because I completely agree and do the exact opposite. So
well, I gotta say, back to the way, well, you're a fit person. I mean, you go with what, it's probably working for you, but what? No.
Why, thank you. No. Yes, I feel very lucky.
Yeah. But for those listening, if you're dealing with weight loss, I'm telling you, you stop eating after 6 and you just start watching that fat just melt off. I mean, it will come off for so many reasons. Because for one, you're now supporting your hormonal cycle. Back to the hormonal cycle. What's happening after dinner? Well, your stomach's digesting, but your melatonin is rising to help you be drowsy when you go to bed. So now you get a better sleep. As you're sleeping, your HGH is rising, your testosterone's going up, your estrogen's going up, your blood sugar is going down. If you ate right before you go to bed, you mess up your blood sugar. And you have high blood sugar when you should be sleeping and have it be very low. Now you wake up in the morning, you got great HGH, estrogen, testosterone, your blood sugar's low, perfect state for exercise, for planning. Your alpha waves are going in your brain. You're at your best for thinking, for writing, for meditation. Then all of that stays in sync until you eat that first meal. And so it may feel bad the first couple months. Many health changes feel bad before they feel good, right? You may be hungry.
Yeah, say that again. That's great.
It's true, right? A lot of positive health changes. For example, when someone goes from a really bad diet to eating a lot of vegetables, simple example, oftentimes they have either constipation or diarrhea-like effects.
Sure.
And they have even headaches as their body purges itself of sugar and other things that have toxins that have built up. And they might feel like crap for 2 weeks. And some people unfortunately go, oh, this diet of vegetables, this sucks. This is no good. I'm going back to what I was doing before, because they feel worse before they feel better.
Right. Same thing with working out or cold exposure. It's going to suck at first, but you have to get over that to realize it feels great.
Yes, you do. Cold exposure took me 3 years.
Oh, wow. That is a commitment.
Whoa.
I mean, I started by just turning down the temperature in the shower, and then a little bit more, But then I would wuss out and just want a hot shower. So I just do a hot shower. And then, but finally there came a day after like 2 years that I was like, I just turned on the cold water. I got in and I had a shower.
My man. Yeah.
And since then, that's what I've done. And I feel great. I don't even notice anymore. It just feels normal.
You're sitting in 32 degrees right now, actually.
Yeah, you can't see it, but from my waist down, I'm in an ice bath.
Yeah.
The Iceman.
But yeah, that is a really good tenet, or something to keep in mind, that it's going to suck at first, but it will be awesome. It will be, self-motivating once you get over the suck.
It's the magic of 90 days.
That's the window.
Any good habit. That's what I think. I really do. A lot of people used to say you can develop a new habit in 21 days. And also, I don't believe it. I think that any positive change in our life, we got to commit and hang in for 90. And after 90, you gave the example of fitness. Absolutely. If you're out of shape, but you'll commit for 90 days to get in shape, after, at first you're going to feel bad. You're going to be sore. Your muscles are weak. Your joints aren't ready for what you're doing. And you got to ease into it so you don't injure yourself. And so it takes a little while just to acclimate. You got to get over that. You got to develop the discipline, because you're not used to being disciplined and getting up and going to the gym or your home gym or whatever it is you're doing, your rowing machine or your Peloton or whatever. But after 90 days, you feel the benefits. People are commenting, hey, you look terrific. What are you doing? You got the endorphins going every morning. You've flipped the switch from hating to get on the Peloton to looking forward to the Peloton. And that takes 90 days. And now your life has changed forever if you just stick with it and work through the odd, low motivational time and just work through the normal changes of life. But generally speaking, you can flip from being a person who doesn't exercise to a person who always exercises and doesn't miss a workout. But it's going to take 90 days to get there.
I mean, 3 months doesn't seem bad to change the type of person you are. So stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's true. I know it's true for me. And I didn't make up this concept. It came from a billionaire in the 80s called Art Williams, who taught it in all of his speeches. And anyone listening, if you ever get a chance to just like Google an Art Williams speech, he was the United States Entrepreneur of the Year in like 1987 or something. And he is this old school football coach from Georgia, high school football coach who became an entrepreneur. Super interesting guy, very down home speech type of stuff. But he talked about this all the time, the magic of 90 days. You can change your life in 90 days. So that's where I stole the idea from.
Solid.
I don't think it's stealing if you learned it.
Yeah. I've made it my own. But I just like to give credit where credit's due.
I didn't steal the Pythagorean theorem way back when.
Pythagoras is like,
it was
no.
drilled into my mind.
I steal everything I can when it comes to ideas. I still, if there's a good idea out there, I'm not very good at inventing stuff, but I'm really creative with other people's ideas.
What is that quote? I forget who it was. It's good artists are inspired, or bad or great artists steal. In fact, I know you know this one.
I want to find that one. You got to find out what that actually is, the exact wording. I bet there. Yeah.
Well,
so while you're looking that up, go ahead.
It's Picasso.
The idea is that was it Bob's? The idea is that a real artist doesn't make anything out of nothing. They take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and they put it in their own pot and they come up with their own stew. And everyone's like, this is brilliant. It's totally unique. And the artist is like, it's not. I took that and I like that and I like that and I like that. And I just made it, something else. But now I think it's also sort of pointing out, like, don't just completely recreate something, take inspiration from a lot of separate places.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our world, hopefully a lot of that is coming from the science, coming from evidence, coming from studies. And where it really gets great is when we become our own scientific study, where we do biohacking, where we get a blood test, right? Like, because my next one is a simple supplement strategy. Right. So yes, we want to eat well, but you can eat as well as you want. I eat very well compared to the average American, I think, that's on the standard American diet, the SAD diet, right? Mm-hmm. But I get blood work done on a regular basis. And every single time I find out something I'm deficient in, and then I need to adjust my diet or adjust my supplements. So test, don't guess. There's a lot of people out there people are all over the map on supplements. There's some people who are taking a lot of the wrong things. There's others who advise, you don't need supplements, just eat a healthy diet. So it's all over the map. I just say, you know what? You're your own best science experiment. Don't listen to any of them. Just get your blood work done. Find out where you're at, and then supplement accordingly. I'll give you an example. So I take my own products, of course. So here's Mimi's Miracle Multi and Mimi's Miracle Minerals. So these are the core products we offer as a company, right? Now I take those and I eat a healthy diet. And between that, I'm never deficient on anything in those bottles, which is great because we designed them to fill the most common deficiencies. Mm-hmm. But there's some things we don't put in them. For example, selenium or potassium. Right? Because some people do get enough of that from their diet, and this is where it gets tricky. It's not necessarily that one person eats more. It's what I said earlier. One person absorbs more than the other. For some reason, some bodies process zinc better than others. Chromium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. Some people will do better than me on some of those ingredients if we ate exactly the same diet. So what I do a blood test. I used to do it once a year. Now I'm doing it every 6 months. And in my last one, I was not deficient, but I was low on selenium, potassium, and magnesium. Now, what I did is I realized potassium. Well, the best source of potassium in nature that I know is bananas. And I like bananas, and I hadn't been eating bananas. And so I started adding one banana to my daily regimen. And next time I get tested, I'm hoping my potassium is up. Selenium, a really great source, is cashew nuts. I eat a lot of nuts. It's a big part of my diet. I have nuts every single day. I love them. And so, Costco has those containers about that big of all the different types of nuts. Yeah. Mm. And I have like 5 of those in my pantry at all times, right?
One a day.
The macadamias are the best by far. I love macadamias. But so the mixed nuts is something I have quite a few of. And because I was low on selenium, I bought the thing of just cashews and have like a little handful of cashews every single day, work that into the mix. So that's what I advise everyone do. Get your blood work done. Do take a multi and a mineral, because that'll just solve most of the problems. Mm-hmm. Then from there, actually do try to solve the problem with food before you resort to a supplement, right? Like if you can keep your potassium where it needs to be with a banana a day, that's fantastic, because you're getting other phytonutrients, you're getting a great source of carbs. Go back to what I said about the hand rolls. That is your serving of carb. You can have that with your breakfast, add a banana to your breakfast, and you've got a great carb. You can add to a green smoothie. You can have it with your lunch, whatever. It becomes one of the carb servings you're going to have with one of your meals. And so most people, if we go through their supplement cupboard, it's just like a random mix of crud. Right? Right. And you say, why are you taking this? Oh, because I went to my friend's party a few years ago and they found this juice from a berry in this faraway mountain in Russia. And when you take this, right, it's like a magical elixir that makes you live longer. Well, okay, but if you're deficient in vitamin D, why don't we start there? Yeah.
Max, are you supplementing with D now? We talked about this.
I went to my doctor and he told me I was low on vitamin D. And so, I have to get my blood work done this week. Thanks for
we'll do a check-in. There we go.
Better write that
I'm going to send you guys some of this.
Okay. Thank you.
Cover the bases.
Yeah. So get your blood work done, and I'll send you each a bottle of Mimi's Miracle Multi and Mimi's Miracle Minerals. And take those for a little while, right?
Okay.
Because like I said, they'll fill in the deficiencies.
Great.
The most common deficiencies.
Sure.
And then, like I said, and then from there, like I said, all our bodies are different. And so from there, we can determine what's unique to us that we ought to either supplement or fill in from our diet.
But it was wild. The weirdest thing for me was never in a million years. I live in Southern California. I have a dog. I walk him. I go outside all the time.
You got to be completely naked. That's the problem.
Well, I try to be as naked as I possibly can. You know what I mean? I'm outside.
Yeah. It is shocking. Even one study I saw was on Indian construction workers. We're talking in the country of India, not like, talking American. We're talking East Indian construction workers at the equator-ish, working with the loincloth all day, deficient in vitamin D. It's bizarre.
Wow.
But vitamin D is one of those we've just found to be incredibly stubborn, and that most people need to supplement it. And number 6 is exercise every day, 7 days a week, even if it's just light. 7.
What if I'm completely wrecked from the previous 6?
Okay, well, let me ask you this. When you're completely wrecked from the previous 6, aren't you still active on that 7th day somehow?
Yeah, obviously, I'm still going to go do a CrossFit workout, but I'm not the average person.
Okay. Well, so, I'm not going to do CrossFit, but I might do yoga.
Yeah. Okay.
Walking, something light. So it shouldn't be 7 days heavy. I personally, I do 2 days heavy a week, and 2 or 3 moderate, and the other very light. All mobility.
Yeah. You are going to live a long time. That's really great for you.
That's my goal. I'm going for it. Yeah, unless I'm hit by a bus. Barring hit by a bus, I want to live as long and healthy as I can.
Solid. Yeah, I agree with that. Not even one sedentary day a week is probably a good idea.
0 sedentary days. This is more important for people over 30 and especially over 40. And so it goes back to what we said earlier about people who don't exercise. It's kind of a double whammy what I'm giving them, because not only am I saying you need to exercise more, I'm saying you need to exercise every single day. And again, to some people, that's just going to feel like, well, I can't really do that. But they really can. And oftentimes they're doing a little more than they think. Everything does count. The whole 10,000 steps idea has been one of the best things that happened in worldwide fitness in a very long time, because I think many, many people, they thought that the only thing that counts when it comes to exercise is if you got in your fancy outfit and went to the gym and had your electronics on and your heart rate monitor and do some serious workout that requires a shower after. And that's not the case. There's a lot of great things. You talk about walking your dog. I'm the same way. I love my dog. We walk at sunrise every single day. I try to be out during sunrise.
Your dog's in your podcast thumbnail. I love it.
Yeah, she's about to be removed, unfortunately. We're doing new podcast art and she'll disappear. We're rebranding.
Are you sure? Dogs play really well.
Is she getting her own podcast? Just her
she
panting.
Should. It would be fantastic.
I would listen to that. I need it to help my melatonin.
Soothing panting noises. Soothing panting dog noises.
Yeah, she's been in that artwork for a very long time, but I just want new artwork. It's not about her, and she won't know, so it won't hurt her feelings or anything.
She's gonna listen to this.
She actually listens to a lot of my podcasts.
We'll see.
She's normally right here beside me.
Oh, nice.
We'll see if your sneakers end up miraculously chewed up one of these days.
Take that.
Oh my gosh. I got to make sure that she can't see my computer screen when I open up my podcast.
All right. So what is our final pillar? 7
to 9 hours of sleep every night.
Yep. Yes. Love it.
Which is, and now if you think about the previous 6, there's a lot of sleep problems in the country. But if you're exercising every day and you're doing intermittent fasting and you stopped eating after 6 o'clock, or let's say 7 at the latest, and you're eating a healthy diet, right? All of a sudden that sleep problem is going to become, it's either going to go away or become a lot less of a problem. And so we do have a lot of sleeping problems. We do have, and they're just exacerbated by late night eating, lack of exercise, eating the wrong foods, caffeinated drinks after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's all kinds of things that contribute. But again, I'm saying, don't drink your calories, right? Drink water, right? And so when you take this as a complete system, you should get much better sleep. And while you're getting that better sleep, your body's doing all those things it was designed to do. And that I said earlier, your hormones, your digestion is done. So your body gets to build itself back up from the exercise that you did. You're much less likely to get cancer or diabetes, right? Because your body, instead of digesting food during the night, it's fighting carcinogens and pathogens and toxins. It's cleansing. Right. And it keeps on doing that till we have that next meal. So these 7 things taken as a system, they're not that hard to do, but when you do all of them, it's pretty amazing how your health can change and improve.
Right. Yeah. And even individually, it's like, oh yeah, I should be doing that. But wait a minute, there's a lot of things I should be doing that will, like you said, end up adding up to a big difference. Yeah.
The biggest challenge I have with presenting this is so many people think, well, I already know all that. And so I say, great, just review the last 24 hours. Let's just do a quick rundown. How much water did you drink and what else did you drink? Did you eat all your food slowly and mindfully in an intermittent fasting window? How many healthy carbs, fats, and proteins did you eat? And how many unhealthy foods did you eat? Did you take supplements? If so, were they the right ones to support your goals and the ones to fill in your deficiencies? Did you exercise? And did you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep? And so that's where the rubber hits the road. These are fairly simple things, and we all have some level of knowledge about them. Very few people are living them day in, day out, 24 hours, 7 days a week,
Right.
365. Yeah, very few.
Max, where are we looking on the checklist?
I'm okay. I'm not terrible, but I'm not great.
Room for improvement. I feel the same way.
Always.
Yeah, always. And the devil's in the details, right? So again, when you're selling, this is free. This is just ideas, right? Oh, and by the way, people can download there's a 10-page PDF on our website you can get for free about this that I recommend.
Okay, where's the website?
It's dirobi.com, dirobi.com. And when you get there, there's a resources page. There's actually quite a few great resources there, stuff you can print out and put on the fridge. There's this PDF I just told you about. So everything on that resources page is free. So just, feel free to grab whatever you want. But the Dirobi Undiet 10-pager, I just really feel strongly about it. This is 12 years of what we've learned from helping people lose weight and a sustainable diet they can do after they lose the weight. So I think anyone can do it. It has none of the negatives that other diets have. You're not buying expensive foods. You're not tracking your calories. You're not weighing anything. Everything is just eating normal foods and doing normal things. You're just doing them maybe in a slightly different way or at a different time. And you're just working on those habits that you probably already know you should be doing. You're just trying to systematize them and do all 7 every day.
Sounds horribly reasonable.
I'm going to quote that. That's awesome. Let me tell you about my horribly reasonable diet.
Well, Allie, should we ask our one question?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
We did kind of already touch on it because it's liquid calories. How do you add? Oh, yeah, this is the only question that we ask everyone, which is really ridiculous. But how do you incorporate alcohol into your fitness and health and training?
I don't drink. No alcohol.
Oh, that's 10 and 8.
It's not 10 and 8. I definitely understand I'm in a minority on this one. It's funny, my son and his daughter, we were recently out to dinner and they were drinking wine and they asked me, why don't you drink, Dad? And I'm like, when I was a kid, I was fairly wild as a teen and experimented with about everything you can imagine. And I'm one of these addictive personalities. When I do something, I do it all the way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for me, a big part of it is fear of if I start drinking, I have a personality that might lead to excess. And so I'm careful with that. Another is just financial. I don't drink. And if I start, I got to buy alcohol. This is another thing I'm going to pay for. And so what my dinner bill is a lot lighter than my friends. Right? Yeah. And the other thing is, spiritually, and again, I should be really careful saying this because it's certainly not that. So I have I meditate every day. Okay, it's part of my MO, and I'm no Buddhist monk or anything. But I meditate for 20 minutes, and I have my way of doing it. And to me, I feel like when there's no stimulants in my body of any kind, drugs, alcohol, I'm at my best. I'm at my natural physical best, mentally, physically. And that through mindfulness and meditation, the point is to stay at your best natural state throughout the whole day. And so that's the other thing is avoiding. So I'm super interested, for example, in microdosing. I'm watching the studies. I'm very interested in some of the health benefits of small amounts of hallucinogenic drugs. I'm following the studies at Johns Hopkins. I have friends who are experimenting in drug use. And I'm interested in it. I'm open to it, but I'm not experimenting with it. I'm just kind of watching it from afar because, again, I feel like if I can be at my absolute best through the 7 things I just told you, that's my goal. That's my go-to. And it'll keep me mentally, functioning as best I can from morning till night, etc. So, anyways, I hope I haven't said anything that offends anyone who drinks, because I'm not against.
I think it's impressive that you've taken an addictive personality trait and made it a positive thing. You clearly have turned that to making good habits.
Yeah, honestly, that is a big part of it. I do fear that if I start, I'm kind of an all or nothing person.
So go all or nothing on things that benefit you.
Go all or nothing on positive things. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's probably my biggest reason right there.
Awesome. Okay. We did talk about the one website. Where else can the FitHeads find you?
That's all they need. Dirobi.com.
Dirobi.com.
As a matter of fact, I offer free fitness consulting on there. So if you scroll down far enough on the homepage, you'll find a place you can book a 20-minute session. I'm happy to do that. There's no charge, there's no catch. It doesn't lead to me wanting to charge you to do more. Nothing like that. It's just something I offer.
The catch is you might change your life.
But it'll take 90 days.
I mean, mainly I offer it for our customers, right? So, but I don't discriminate. I don't look through, hey, did you buy anything from me? And if you didn't, I won't do it. But for all of our customers, it's really a nice thing when we're able to say, hey, if you bought something from us, we're happy to spend time with you. For example, a lot of people have questions on, can I give this to my dog? Can I give it to my child? Or does it help with this condition? Or they have something that they just want to talk through, whatever it is, a personal issue or challenge that they'd love to just chat with a certified nutrition coach about. So, and I really enjoy those sessions. So anyone listening, don't feel like, I don't want to take his time with something like that. I'm happy to do it. It's actually a lot of fun for me. And like I said, it doesn't lead to any kind of a sales pitch at all. Not on my products, nothing. I just want to help people. I'm a certified fitness coach, and I don't actually do any coaching except when people set up those free sessions. So,
Right,
so that's really it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been awesome talking with you.
You guys are a lot of fun. This has been a great podcast. I love all the tangents.
Tangenting.
Tangenting is great. It makes it easier. We can just talk freely about anything. I love it.
Great. And thank you to the FitHeads. We really appreciate you reviewing and rating on Apple Podcasts. If you can, that's a big deal for us. And we will see you next week.